Hey YouTube, thanks for joining me today. I'm going to be talking on a subject that I've had a lot of people reach out to me over my various channels and ask about. Also, when I was feeling out what kind of subjects people wanted to learn about for photography, specifically the beginners, a lot of people mentioned autofocus. So there's a couple things that I'm going to be speaking about with this. Basically, what is autofocus versus manual focus? What are the points? How do they work? And then also, I want to introduce you to back button focus. So back button focus is an autofocus type, but it allows you much finer control of your autofocus. As a professional, I like to use manual focus. That's great. However, sometimes circumstances are beyond my control. That could be the subject is too far away for me to really get a fine-tuned focus, or weddings are just happening too fast. And so I revert to an autofocus, but not your standard half press on the shutter button autofocus, because that's really just a crapshoot. You're not sure what you're going to get. It's not positive. And so I'm going to teach you back button focus, which helps you to be really sure of what you're going to get. So with all of that being said, let's get started. In my video today, I'm going to be featuring all Nikon products because that's the brand that I use. That being said, everything that I teach you today on Nikon cameras is also available and possible through Canon and Sony. Whether you have a DSLR or you have a mirrorless camera, it makes no difference. All of this stuff works across the entire board. So let's talk about what autofocus is. Autofocus in its simplicity is simply you push a button, the camera uses calculations to determine how far away the subject is, it meters that, and then it runs it through and adjusts your lens accordingly. This is great if you don't have time to do a manual focus. That's fine. Where this becomes a problem is whenever you're photographing a subject, let's say a person, and you want to get their eyes crystal clear, right? The eyes are the window to the soul. You want to get their eyes crystal clear in the image and sharp. Well, the camera is programmed to search for the nearest object. So let's say this camera has 39 points that it will use to determine what is nearest to the camera. It's going to find the nearest point, more than likely the nose, or if the subject's wearing a hat, it'll be the point of the hat. And so that point is going to be the in focus item. That's an issue because when people are having their photos taken, they don't want their hat or their nose in focus. They want, a range or their whole face in focus. So what I go for is the eyeballs, and just shooting by half pressing the shutter button is not going to give you the exact point that you want in focus. Okay, so how do we overcome that? On this camera, there's a button here on the side, and this is the autofocus switch. There's a switch, and then in the middle of the switch, there's a button. When you press that button, it allows you to go between autofocus single, continuous, or auto. It allows you to go between auto servo, singular servo, or continuous servo. And so what that does is the auto will automatically choose whether it needs to be single or continuous. The single means that if you press your button to focus and it picks a point, you have to re-press the button to get a new focus. Even if you hold that button down, if you hold your focus button down, you have to let go and re-press to get a new focus. Continuous servo means that you can hold the button down and whatever you point your camera to, it's going to constantly adjust the focus. So this is great. This is fantastic. If a bride is walking down the aisle with her father, I can just put it on them, hold the button down halfway, and it will continually track them. And then I just complete the latter half of the finger movement to get the shot. And when I'm done, I don't let up all the way. I just kind of go back to that halfway point. So it's just fine hair trigger movements. That's good. But let's discuss the points issue. I have 39 points that I can use, or that the camera uses, to find that focus. I don't want that. I want 1 point. So the way you determine your 1 point is when your camera's on and you press this button on the side, then you're going to scroll with your front wheel and you can have single or auto. So auto is going to give you the full range of points. It will choose everything that it wants to choose. Single means it's going to put one dot on the inside, and wherever that dot is pointed, when you press your focus button, it's going to focus on that one thing. Everything else will fall in relation to that, but that is the 1 point. This is how photographers get crystal clear precision when it comes to their focusing. Now, this stands apart from blurriness or haziness due to high ISO. You know, if you're dragging your shutter speed and you're doing this type of focusing, single point focusing, and you have a slow shutter speed, it's still going to be a blurry picture. It's not going to be crystal clear. You have to make sure all your settings are lined up. I'm just touching on with focus, assuming all of your settings are correct for the environment. That is how you get crystal clear. Okay. Now let's talk about back button focusing. This I learned about a few years ago, and it was an absolute game changer for me, and here's why. When you're using your shutter button to get your focus, when you let go of the shutter button after taking a photo and you go to repress, your camera refocuses. This is a total pain whenever you're on a portrait shoot or you're dealing with small children or dogs running around, and you have to re-find your focus every single time. It's a pain. So what you do is you set up your camera settings and you simply change your shutter button to a back button. This is controlled by your thumb with a button that is seldom used, so you're not losing anything, you're only gaining. When you adjust your focus to be handled by the back button, the front button is only used to take a picture. This will change your life. So in this setup, I can be photographing a couple for their wedding day portraits. I can set the focus directly to their eyeballs, and I can move any which way right here and not have to refocus. Whereas if it was focusing through the shutter button, I would focus, click, go to click again, but it would refocus, so I'd have to find them again and then shoot. This way, I just hit that back button and it focuses. Super easy. That is why I am a strong proponent of back button focus. My wife shoots weddings with me as my second shooter. I ran her through the gauntlet training her how to use back button focus. Now she can't even shutter button focus anymore. We're so hooked on the back button focus method. Using a single point, it'll change your life. So now that I've explained sort of the theory behind all of this, let's jump behind the camera and get set up and look at how this works. Here we go. Okay, so now we're on the back of the camera, and I'm going to show you how to set up your back button focus. So this is really simple on Nikons. It's pretty easy on Canons and Sonys as well. With the Nikon, you're going to power your camera on. So mine is on right there. You're simply going to click your info button right there. I'm going to dim this video so that the screen shows up. There we go. You already hit your info button. Well, hit the info button, hit it again, and this sets you up in an editing mode on your camera. So what you want to do is go down and then over 3 times, and you're going to find the auto exposure lock, autofocus lock button. And this is actually giving a reference up here in red of that button there. So we're looking at the top button at that point. You're going to click OK, and it gives you a list of items that you can choose from to select for the back button. You are going to choose autofocus. So you have auto exposure, autofocus lock, auto exposure lock only, auto exposure lock hold, autofocus lock only, autofocus on. That is the one you want. So as soon as you click this on, boom, it's on. You are now in autofocus mode. So as an example, I will half press the front. You hear nothing's happening. I'll press the back button. The camera is working to focus. So I'm going to take a picture of this camera that I have in front of my DSLR. There we go, perfect. So my autofocus is set to my back button. Now let's kind of reverse a little bit and talk about the different methods that you can shoot with when it comes to points. So I'm going to set this here. Let me get my focus right. There we go. On the front side, I mentioned there's a little button on that switch that you can press. From there, you can choose if you want auto, so it will select the points that it wants to use, or you can go single point. I suggest single point, as this will allow you to get far greater clarity and sharpness in your focus. So single point. What does this look like? Let me show you. It is a single point that is inside the viewfinder. So this is the single point that I was talking about right here. When you turn it off, it disappears. Here it is. So you put that point where you want to focus, hit your back button focus, and you are in focus on that point. No matter how I move this, it's still keeping that focus. Want to focus on the glass? It's focused on the glass now. There's the image perfectly in focus. How do you change your single point? Good question. There's a single point there. The way you would change this is by this right here. So see the L there? That's lock. And that is unlock. So whenever it's unlocked, you can move that single point around where you choose within your frame. So let's go down 2 and 1 to the left. Down 2, 1 to the left. Now, anywhere that point is, it's going to be on focus in that spot. You see that? Now let's leave the camera just like this and go up to the top. And then do another back button focus. Now it's focusing up there. You see how that works? Now, disclaimer, it only works in this frame that's sort of a rectangle with a circle in the middle. That little frame that it's in. That's the only place that this guy stays. So you can see it moving, it just keeps going. It does not go outside of this little area here. Go all the way over here, back button focus, boom, right there. Put it right up on that camera. Now we're focused on the camera. So that's the way that works. You have the single point. What I do is I leave it dead center in the middle. I leave it dead center in the middle, just like that. I put this on lock, and I never move it from there. Let's say I want to focus on that lens like that, but I want to move after. It's okay, because it's going to stay in focus, right? Boom. Got a perfectly in focus photo of my camera. Now, pressing that side autofocus button again down here on the side next to the lens, and you scroll the rear wheel of your camera, you'll have automatic, single, and continuous. Automatic is where it chooses for you. Single is where you have to press the back button every single time you want to reset your focus. Continuous is where the camera will track the subject wherever that single point is, as long as you are holding the button down. You can hold this button down continuously and fire your shutter button as you choose. Thank you for watching my video today. I really appreciate your view. If you haven't already, scroll down just a little bit and hit the red button, the subscribe button. And if you did like the video and if it has helped you, give a thumbs up. And if you have any suggestions on videos that you would like to see, comment and let me know what you think I should teach on next. Thanks for watching. It was a blast having you. Have an excellent day. Hey guys, I almost forgot about my offer that I mentioned at the beginning of my video in the little slide. And that is this. Some of you may remember that I put out a free ebook called A Quick Start Guide to Digital Photography for Beginners. So here's the deal. I'm taking that free ebook, I'm expounding upon it by about 400%. So it's going to be about 4 times longer than that ebook. I'm writing a whole new ebook, kind of expounding, going way more in depth on things. I'm going to be selling that ebook for $25. Whenever that is out, I will make sure that you get a link to it. I wanted to give this ebook out for free. However, with the amount of value that I'm giving out and the amount of time that I'm putting into writing this ebook, I will be charging for this. However, for those that jump on it within the first 2 weeks, I'm giving 50% off. So it's $25. You're paying $12.50 for it, US dollars. So that's something there. Whenever you do buy it, you will receive a link, and that link will be specific to your name. So here's how it works. You buy it for the 50% off. Whenever you give your link to your friends and they click through that and buy my ebook, you get 25% of however much they pay. So they buy 4 ebooks, you made all your money back. You can keep sending your link out. You can get as many friends as you want to buy the ebook. You'll collect 25% each time. There's no cap to it. So if you're interested in something like that, let me know in the comments below, and I look forward to sharing my new ebook with you. Have a great one. I'll see you in the next video.